Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Séamus Brady, your host, and for this one I'm going to quickly give a preview and predictions for this weekend's upcoming action. I'm going to start with the hurling, then go into the Gaelic football, give my preview, give my predictions for all of this weekend's games. Let me know in the comments whether or not you agree with me, disagree with me, but let's jump right into the game, starting hurling first. And I'm going to go in order of when the games are on. So the Saturday action from the hurling is, of course, we have the final of the John McDonagh Cup between Carlow and Offaly at Croke Park. Now, this one is really, really interesting from a psychological standpoint. Throughout the John McDonagh Cup, for me, it's been clear Offaly have been the best team. You know, they're riding the crest of a wave, obviously, the success that they've had, you know, with their under-20 sides, everything like that, carried that into the senior side with that momentum. But now, of course, for the last game, it was pretty clear that if Carlow beat Offaly, Carlow would be into the John McDonagh Cup final. But if Offaly beat them, they would potentially open the door to a final showdown with either Laois, which kind of, you got the feeling that maybe a full-strength Laois, don't mean this in any disrespectful way to Carlow, but at the time it was like Laois, with the likes of Paddy Purcell, with the likes of the Dumfries, you know that Laois might be able to hit a higher ceiling. So Carlow got a very, very understrength Offaly side, and they absolutely mauled them. Like, they mauled them. And for Offaly now going into this game, it's interesting because they brought back their full team, but now they really have to win this game because it's basically like, in my opinion, from watching that game where they named a second string team, okay, you're just speculating there, but you're like, they really didn't care if they won that game. And now they've got Carlow in the final as a result of losing that game. Now they brought back all their players. They will be hurt after that result. Who am I going to pick to win? The likes of Owen Cahill, like players like that, have been shooting the lights out for Offaly. So I will probably go for an Offaly victory. I'm going to say Offaly are going to win the John McDonagh Cup for 2023. Not by much. Going to say a narrow victory, 3 or 4 points, but Offaly to win the John McDonagh Cup for 2023. So let me know if you agree with me or disagree with me in the comments below. That's my first pick, Offaly to win the John McDonagh Cup. Next, Dublin versus Galway at Croke Park in the Leinster Hurling Championship. Now, before everybody writes this game off as well, Dublin are going to get destroyed here. The last time Dublin played Galway in Croke Park, Dublin won that game, 118 to 114. That was against Galway, who were under Shane O'Neill. And to be honest, look, that's a very different Galway team. Like, Galway came out in that game, and I'll never forget, Galway came out in that game and they were so arrogant. They expected to blow Dublin away, and they really thought Dublin were going to fold after 5 minutes. You got Joe Canning going for a goal from a 21-yard free and stuff like that in the first 5 minutes. They really wanted to blow Dublin away. It didn't happen, and Dublin won the game, and Shane O'Neill was ousted soon after. Now, this is a different Galway side, though. Henry Shefflin has brought it. Like, look at the scores that they've been running up. They put 5-29 on Antrim, a team that Dublin drew it away from home. They've had really comprehensive, comfortable victories. And look, honest truth, I can't see Dublin pulling off the same trick again. We've made really, really good progress, I think, under Micheál Donoghue. Our performance against Kilkenny was really good for long, long periods. But I still think this game is a little bit too far beyond us. I'm going to say Galway to win this one by about 5 points. Their forward line is too strong. Conor Whelan, Brian Concannon, Evan Nyland now is really hitting his stride as well. So I probably will say Galway to beat us, even though obviously my heart will say Dublin to make a Leinster final. But no, I think Galway are too strong. And then they would be playing in the Leinster final against, I believe, Kilkenny. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. Could Wexford be relegated? Like, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Wexford get relegated to the John McDonagh Cup this weekend. Something that's absolutely crazy. It depends on this game against Kilkenny and the Westmeath Antrim game at Cusack Park and Mullingar. But starting with the Wexford-Kilkenny game at Wexford Park, Wexford have to do their bit. They have to get a result against Kilkenny. They have to either draw or win to ensure their survival. And honestly, I don't think they're going to do either. Like, I actually genuinely don't think that they are capable of getting a result against Kilkenny right now. Look, I could be made to eat those words. They did it last year. They went down to Nolan Park, put in an outstanding performance and managed to save themselves. But my God, it is back to the wall now. This isn't like they're already out of the Leinster Championship. They're already out of the All-Ireland Championship as well. Sorry, I should have said that the first time. But this is different now. This is potential humiliation here. If they get, like, imagine next year, just imagine Lee Chin, Conor McDonald, Rory O'Connor, Damien Reck playing in the Joe McDonagh Cup. Like, you'd be thinking, well, what has gone on here? The worst defeat, and I think the most embarrassing defeat I've seen for a long, long time in the last round against Westmeath. Can they turn it around against Kilkenny? I'm going to say no. I don't think they will. And also, I think Antrim are going to beat Westmeath. So what does that mean? That would mean that Wexford would be relegated to the Joe McDonagh Cup. So that's my bold prediction of the weekend. I think that Westmeath are not going to beat Antrim and Wexford are not going to beat Kilkenny. So I think Wexford are going down. We'll see what happens. But I mean, that would be an absolutely insane outcome of this year's championship. Nobody would have predicted that Wexford would be in this position at this stage of the championship. It's crazy how quick one game can just change everything. One half can change everything. At halftime, they were 16 points up, cruising, and they threw it away. But yeah, I'm going to say Antrim beat Westmeath. I think they've been consistently more competitive. And look, even though Westmeath's comeback was amazing, their last two goals that they got to ultimately turn the tide weren't really too imaginative. Direct long ball into Niall Mitchell, catch, goal. I don't think they'll get as easy goals against Antrim. But then again, on paper, Wexford's defence is stronger, so who knows? But I'm going to go with Antrim to beat Westmeath in Cusack Park and Mullingar to ensure their survival as well. Let's not forget. And then Kilkenny to beat Wexford. So Wexford to go down. Bold prediction. Put it in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen? Moving across to Munster, we're leaving the most important game to last, and I'm sure you already know what game that is. But the first one for Munster I'm going to look at is Tipperary versus Waterford at Semple Stadium in Thurles. Waterford already out of the championship. Tip closing in on a Munster final appearance. A lot of people have written Waterford off and said, look, they're going to lose. Reality is, if there's anything in the Davy Fitz Waterford era, they need to put up a performance here. Okay, and look, they've had a dreadful Munster Championship. There's no other way to put it. They've had a dreadful year. I genuinely have not seen one Waterford performance where I've been really impressed by them. The Limerick game was kind of weird, as in, Limerick were so clearly off the pace and Waterford just didn't make them pay for it. It was a really weird game. They put in some good tactics. They showed the blueprint of how to stop Barry Nash. That's probably the best thing Waterford have done all year. But I would say I don't think they're getting anything out of this game. I think Tip with Liam Cahill and everything, it's a really interesting matchup. It's a real interesting storyline, of course, that the guy who was managing them last year could be the one to, give them the final defeat as they limp out of the championship without a win. But in my opinion, if there's anything in the future of Waterford hurling under Davy Fitzgerald, they need to put up a result in this game, put up a performance in this game, show that there is something for the future of Davy Fitzgerald with Waterford, because if they go out and get thumped, doesn't look good. But I am going to go for Tipperary to win this game, probably by about 6 or 7 points, a similar scoreline. But Waterford, please hit the back of the net. Please score a goal. You haven't scored a goal in the 3 games in the championship so far. Waterford have not broken 20 points in the championship so far either. So please, if you're going to go out with scoring a goal in 23 or something. Show that you have the forwards to do, because we all know Waterford have the forwards, but put Desi Hutchinson in the forwards. Put Patrick Fitzgerald in the forwards. Stop pulling them back. But yeah, I'm going to go Tipperary to win this game without too much of a fuss and book their place in the Munster final. Which, moving on then to the crucial one, Limerick versus Cork at the Gaelic grounds. And if we're talking about, hugely significant games, I think this is the most significant game. Limerick could be out of the championship at the end of this. Just absolutely crazy. What do you even make of this? Cork have been, and the other thing as well is that the storyline between these two counties, let's not forget 2021 in the All-Ireland Hurling Final, Limerick humiliated Cork. That was the perfect All-Ireland Final performance. They looked untouchable. And now Cork, 2 years later, have a chance to knock Limerick out in the Munster Championship at the first hurdle and crush their hopes of doing a 4 in a row. Something at which Cork are one of the only hurling counties to have done, and Limerick have never done it. Like, the storyline there writes itself. Cork have a golden opportunity, and in my opinion, across from 2020 to now, they've never had a better chance of beating Limerick. Can they do it this time? It's one of those things where Cian Lynch has been so off the pace. Gearóid Hegarty's been so off the pace. Seeing Gearóid Hegarty, Cian Lynch, Seamus Flanagan all get taken off against Tip was a real significant sight. I'd never thought I'd see those guys get substituted off. I thought those were the untouchables. But to be fair to John Kiley, nobody's untouchable. If you're not performing, straight off. Do I think Limerick are going to beat Cork? Hot take? Yes. I think I cannot wrap my brain around how Limerick can be knocked out now. I think their backs are against the wall. I don't think they're going down without a fight. I think they're going to give everything they have in this game to pull themselves through. And given that Cork haven't really beaten Limerick in a big game, they haven't beaten this Limerick side in a big game, and the fact that it is Pat Ryan's first year with them, there is a bit of a transition going on there. I think Cork could make a big mistake in how they set up for this game. I think if Cork put a two-man inside forward line of Seamus Hannity and Patrick Horgan, I think they're playing right into Limerick's hands. I'm just being brutally honest. I think if they don't try and look at what Tip did with Jake Morris on Mike Casey and how that caused them huge problems, Cork should be putting Shane Kingston on Mike Casey and telling him to do the exact same thing that Jake Morris did. Hard, fast, direct running and go for goal. Like that type of thing. Push him on the back foot because he's not a cornerback. He is a fullback. That type of thing. Cork need to take a leaf out of Tip's book, out of Clare's book. If they go with a two-man full forward line of Hannity and Horgan, they're playing right into Casey and Morrissey's hands. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Limerick to win that game. I just think Cork haven't beaten them in a huge game yet, and I can't see them being able to do it in Pat Ryan's first year in charge. So I'm going to go with Limerick to save themselves and get out of the Munster Championship and go into the All-Ireland Championship. But my God, what a result it would be if Cork could pull it off. That would blow up the championship for sure. That is the hurling preview, guys. Now moving across to Gaelic football, and we have week 2 of action, but still round 1 of the action from the All-Ireland group stages, starting with Group A's action on the Saturday. Louth versus Cork in Park Talton in Group A. Now, this one's really interesting because obviously Louth beat Cork in the league. Since then, Louth have taken an absolute hammering at the hands of Dublin, and I honestly didn't see that coming. I'm being honest. I thought Louth would set up really defensively, similarly to how they did in the league game. They made pretty much the same naive mistake that Kildare made in last year's Leinster final. As in, we competed with them in the league, so we're going to go man-to-man with them. And then Dublin just put 5 goals past them, and that was that. So Louth's confidence surely can't be at the same level that it was, but maybe they can just be like, look, we lost heavily to Dublin. Who hasn't done that in the Leinster Championship over the last 10 years? Let's just, water off a duck's back. Let's just keep going. They could do that. They could do that, and they could bounce back in this game. Cork, on the other hand, I didn't see them losing to Clare. I thought they'd turned the corner. I thought that they were starting to put this talent into a team that was cohesive and well put together. But they've had a lot of time to think since that game. That game is a long time ago. Honestly, it's really hard to tell this because league form is often irrelevant to the championship, and teams turn a corner in the championship because Cork looked like they were turning a corner in the league. Their draw with Derry in the last week, and then Clare got relegated, but then Clare came back to beat Cork in the championship as well. It was a really, really confusing one, and it's always hard to tell. Like Dublin get relegated from the league, everyone writes them off, and then they come within a point of Kerry, who went to win the All-Ireland. Like league form is often, you often cannot base things off it. So this game, I'm going to go with Cork to win. I genuinely am going to go with Cork to win. I think they have fantastic forwards. Like you're talking the likes of Brian Hurley, Stephen Sherlock. If these guys hit form, I think Cork could put up a big score. And I think Louth aren't as confident as they were I definitely could be made to regret picking this, but I'm going to go Cork very narrowly. I'm talking 2 points, 3 points. That would be what I would be thinking will happen in that game. So moving on then to the action in Group B. At the Athletic Grounds, Armagh against Westmeath. An absolutely heartbroken Armagh side losing out on a potential Ulster title. Once again losing in a penalty shootout. Like, just to put this, if they'd won 2 penalty shootouts, Kieran McGeeney's resume would read All-Ireland semi-final appearance last year, at least, if they had not have gone on to beaten Derry in that semi-final. And then like potential All-Ireland final appearance. I don't think they would have beaten Kerry in the final, but potential All-Ireland final appearance and an Ulster title if they had won 2 penalty shootouts. Just crazy how different things could look. But here we are. They're up against Westmeath now, and it's at the Athletic Grounds. I can see nothing other than a comfortable Armagh victory. Like, I know David Brady came out and said that he thinks that Westmeath can beat Armagh, and I just don't know what he's talking about, to be honest. I'm not trying to be, dismissive, but at the same time, there's no way I can see Westmeath winning this game. They have really good forwards, Ronan O'Toole, John Heslin, Kieran Martin, but there's no way they win this game. Armagh are too good. Simply, Armagh are too good for them. So I'm going to go, especially at home, Armagh are going to win this game. I'm going to go with Armagh to win by about 5 or 6 points at the very least. Put it in the comments below if you completely disagree with me, but I am going Armagh to win this one. The last action from the All-Ireland group stage is then on the Saturday is in Group D. Group C's action on the Sunday between Dublin and Roscommon. But first, Derry versus Monaghan at Celtic Park in Group D on Saturday evening. Now, let's not forget, the last time these two sides played each other was only a few weeks ago. That was in the Ulster semi-final, and Derry mopped the floor at Monaghan. Put up a goal in 21. And I am going to go with Derry to win again. I can't erase that from my mind. Of how comfortable it was for Derry. It was so comfortable. Monaghan are a team that can bounce back and they can put up a fantastic performance and they probably could win this game. But I can't wipe out how easy that was for Derry in the Ulster Championship. So I am going to go with them to get the victory in this one. But do put it in the comments below if you disagree with me. Then the last action on the Sunday, Dublin versus Roscommon at Croke Park in Group C. Now, this is a shame because I really do believe that if this game was anywhere else, I do genuinely believe that if this game was anywhere else, Roscommon would actually have a really good chance of beating Dublin. I think if it was in the Hyde, Roscommon would have a fantastic chance of beating Dublin. Croke Park, big open pitch. Roscommon will find it hard to get bodies behind the ball and, play their system. And the reality is the last few times the Roscommon have come to play Dublin, I know it was different Dublin teams, but they've been destroyed when they play Dublin in the Super 8s in Croke Park. So I am going to go with Dublin to win this game. Too open a pitch, and Dublin have put up huge tallies in Croke Park now the last few times that they've been doubted. I think Roscommon will put up a good fight. I won't say I don't think it will be more than 7 points for sure. Won't be more than 7 points, but I could see Dublin winning by 4 or 5. So that's what I am going to go for. Dublin to win by 4 points, I'd say. And so that brings a conclusive end to my preview and predictions for this weekend's action, guys, here on Play on GAA. Do let me know if you disagree with any of my predictions in the comments below and tell me why you think your team is going to win whatever game you disagree with me on. And until the next one, guys, enjoy all the action from the weekend and take care.